If I asked you what the most important thing in a photo is, what would you say? Maybe you would say something like a strong composition, interesting subject matter, dramatic lighting, or vivid colors. And you'd be right, but not because those are the factors that create a visually beautiful image. It's because all those factors culminate on something much more important: story. Story is emotion in photography. It's the thing that allows your viewer to feel a deeper connection with your image and use it as a starting point for their imagination to run wild with and explore that scene even further. And it is, without a shadow of a doubt, the single most important factor in photography, and I think most of us can probably agree on that. So in this video, I want to discuss story in depth, break down some of the things that actually contribute to story in photography, and also give you guys a ton of practical tips for how to tell better stories and more meaningful stories with your work. And if you guys want to go even deeper into this topic, I have an entire course called Photography Essentials. And in that course, I teach you not only the basics of photography and how to use your camera and all that good stuff, but also how to tell deeper stories with your photos. I'll put a link down below and you guys can check it out. Okay, so let's start this video off with actually defining what story is in photography. Well, in short, story is the emotion, meaning, or message that a photo conveys. It's what makes an image feel alive, and it invites the viewer to connect, imagine, or feel something beyond the frame. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions about story in photography is that in order for a photo to have a story, it has to tell this grand narrative where we see multiple subjects interacting and telling us a very clear story about a specific moment in time, like we see with the greatest photos of all time, for example. These photos are the greatest photos of all time because they have a very clear story that depicts a specific or a significant moment in history. But a story can be so much simpler than that. It doesn't have to be this grand narrative. It could be as simple as a feeling, an emotion, or a message. It could be a slight warm tint in an image that gives a photo a sense of nostalgia, or toning down the colors to give it a more subdued or moody look. And it can even be found in more abstract images, like in the form of rigid geometric lines that create a sense of order and structure, or even the soft glow of the light reflecting off the ocean. You don't have to have this grand narrative to tell a story in your photography. If your photo makes your viewer feel something, then that's the story. And ultimately, story is just a combination of all the stylistic elements of photography in lighting, composition, subject matter, and color, and how all those factors come together to convey emotion or a feeling to your viewer. So let's break down these aspects of story in depth and talk about how we can use them to enhance the stories of our photos. And at the top of that list is, of course, subject matter. Now, subject matter, or the physical things in your photo, is the basis of story in photography. And if you look back at the greatest photos of all time, oftentimes the subject matter is the driving force in the story of those images. We often see multiple subjects interacting to tell the story of a very specific moment in time. And these images are so powerful largely because they use humans to convey their message. And this leads me on to my first tip with story in photography, and that is utilizing other human beings is one of the easiest ways to tell more meaningful stories with your photography. As human beings, we relate to one another, and if there's a person in your photograph, it makes that image so much easier to relate to. The expression of a person in our photo almost forces the viewer to feel the same thing. It's kind of a cheat code in photography. If the person looks excited or energetic, we immediately attribute those emotions to that photo. And the same goes for if someone looks a little bit sad or melancholy, we often attribute those emotions to that photo as well. But even if you don't have someone's face in your photo, you can still incorporate a human element to enhance the meaning or the story of that photo. For example, you can use a hand in a still life photo to humanize that photo a little bit. Or you could utilize a human subject in your landscape photos to not only provide a visual sense of scale, but also make it easier for the viewer to feel like they're actually standing there in that location. And this is something I always aim for in my landscape photos, is I try to have a person in there for that sense of scale and to also allow the viewer to relate to that image on a deeper level. But what about photos without people? Obviously, we take a lot of photos that don't have people in them, and we can't always use this cheat code. Well, every object in our lives has some sort of an emotional connection to us, some more than others. Take a cup of coffee, for example. A cup of coffee might make some people feel warm or cozy or nostalgic because it reminds them of a trip they went on to Switzerland back in 2010, for example, when it was a beautiful trip to Switzerland. They were staying in a beautiful Swiss chalet. They're going to attribute that cup of coffee to the emotions that they felt when they were traveling on that trip. And something like a misty forest might make you feel mysterious or somber. And a small cabin in the mountains might make us feel peaceful or cozy. So being mindful of all the different objects in our shot and deciding if we want to include them or omit them from our scene can help enhance the story of your photo. Now, this is especially relevant if you're actively creating, so you're putting together a shoot and you can control most of the variables in that shoot. That's a situation where you want to look at all the different objects that you have in front of you and determine if you want to include or exclude those things from your scene in the pursuit of story. And sometimes adding a simple prop can massively help the story in your photo. And a good example of this is a shoot that I did with a brand called Bosun a few years ago. And they wanted to shoot on the beach in Bali, but we needed something to kind of anchor that shoot and give it more of a story and give it this feeling of an adventure along the Balinese coast. And we selected a old Land Rover for that. And I think it really ties these images together, because if it was just these two standing on the beach, yeah, the photos would look cool, but that Land Rover really brings the story together and tells this much more interesting story of a couple cruising along the Balinese coast. They're stopping to watch the sunset and they're just having a beautiful time on the beach. Now, I think this is also a really good time to talk about location as well, because location can be considered subject matter if you are actively creating and you're putting together your own shoot. And if you're planning something like a portrait shoot, nothing can make the story fall apart faster in that shoot than a discrepancy between the location and the model or the subject. So make sure that the location that you're shooting at matches the story that you want to tell in that shoot. And that's exactly why brands spend so much money to hire photographers to shoot in these epic locations. It's because those locations match the story or the brand identity of that brand. But of course, you're not always going to be able to control all the different objects or subject matter in your scene. If you're shooting something like street photography, you're not going to be able to control all the different elements in your scene. But just recognizing and being cognizant of the fact that every object has some sort of an emotional connection to it can help you approach your photography differently, and you might come across shots that you would have otherwise missed. Like in this photo that I shot in Coney Island in winter of last year, and for the most part, all I remember about that trip was that it was horrifically cold the entire time I was there. But this photo would absolutely suck if we didn't have that woman's hand pressing against the glass. Her hand in the window just adds so much to the story, and I think it makes this image a lot more powerful. But subject matter is, of course, just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to story in photography. And there's several other factors that we have to talk about as well. And while this video is focused on photography, all these principles translate to video as well. And one of the ways I enhance the stories in my videos is by using stock footage from today's sponsor, Artlist. Because even though I have like 15 terabytes of footage across all of my hard drives, and by the way, this is just a fraction of the hard drives that I have, there's still situations that I come across where I just don't have a clip for that specific part of my video. And Artlist is hands down the best place to source those extra clips, because they have one of the highest quality libraries of stock footage that I've seen online. Plus, they just launched a bunch of new features that makes it much easier to find the perfect clip for your project. This includes a new filter feature that lets you sort by several variables like clip duration or orientation, which makes it so much easier to find clips for TikToks or Instagram Reels. They also have a new similar footage feature that lets you find related clips to the one that you like, making it so much easier to find footage that fits the exact vibe of your project. And that's exactly how I found pretty much all the clips that I've been using in this video. But what's so great about Artlist is it's not just stock footage. It has pretty much everything that you need as a creative to make more engaging videos. This includes royalty-free music, motion graphics template, sound effects, a ton of different LUTs to color graded videos, and of course their AI voiceover feature. There's so much more that you get with an Artlist subscription as well, and I couldn't possibly list them all here in this video, but if you're making videos for the internet, Artlist really is a must-have in this day and age. And whether you're just starting out on your creative journey or you're a working professional and you already have clients, Artlist has a plan that will fit your budget and meet you where you're at on your creative journey. So click the first link in the description to check out Artlist and try out all their new stock footage features, as well as get access to thousands of other creative assets that you can use to level up your videos. Thank you so much, Artlist, for sponsoring this video and being such a legendary sponsor of the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Now let's move on and talk about how color can influence the story in our photos. Now, just like subject matter, color is highly associated with emotion. And if you guys watched my video on color theory or you've taken my Lightroom course, you know how much emphasis I place on color in my work, because I think for me, it's one of the biggest driving factors for the story of my photos. Now, I'm not going to get too into the specifics of this because my color theory video goes much more in depth into this, but every color is associated with an emotion. Now, this is going to depend on your cultural background and where you're from, but generally speaking, these emotions are associated with these colors. And by utilizing specific colors in our scene, we can greatly enhance the story of our photo. Now, of course, we run into the same problem that we do with subject matter. If you're out shooting something like street photography or even something like landscape photography, you're not always going to be able to control the colors that are present in your scene when you take that photo. If you're doing active creation and you're putting together your own shoot, you'll probably have a little bit more control over this, but I would argue that the editing phase is where the magic really happens with color. Lightroom gives us immense amounts of control to shape and manipulate the colors in our photos. And it allows you to take a photo that might feel boring at first and completely enhance the story by adding, subtracting, or shifting colors around. Take this photo, for example. This is a photo that I shot on the California coast, and it's already a really interesting and beautiful photo because the subject matter is fascinating. I think these birds flying across the frame, it just looks beautiful, but I knew that I could enhance the story by playing around with the colors in this image. So I decided to edit it in a film style vibe, focusing on colors that look like Portra 400, and I think it gives this image so much more of a nostalgic and warm and timeless feeling, and it just really brings out the story in this photo. And also, I edited this image with my free preset pack using the Warm Portrait preset. I'll put a link down in the description. You guys can download those completely free. Now, another example are these images that I shot in the foggy forest of Madeira, Portugal. This place is so freaking cool. I was losing it when I was there because it was so beautiful, but I really wanted to capture this kind of lonely, isolated, somber vibe while I was shooting there. So I really leaned into the blues in these images because I wanted that blue to carry the emotion in these photos. And lastly, this is a portrait that I shot in Bali in 2020, and it's a beautiful photo, but I felt like it was just feeling a little bit cold and it just lacked something. So I really enhanced the warmth and the saturation in this photo to make it look a lot more dramatic, inviting, and interesting. I always spend so much time editing the color in my images because I think it's a defining feature of my work, but I do caution you when you're editing color. Color is very nuanced and you can very quickly go overboard with it. So don't watch this video and think that in order to tell deeper stories using color in your photography, you just ramp the saturation up to 100 and call it a day. You always need to be thinking about the visual aesthetics of your image as well. Yes, story is the most important thing, but if no one's looking at that image because it doesn't catch their eye, then you're completely missing that viewer altogether. You don't need to go overboard with editing color. Just start off slow and make small adjustments at first, and then determine if you want to make more adjustments after that. But I don't want to turn this into an editing video. So if you guys want to check out my color theory video, I'll put a link to it up there. Or if you want to kickstart your Lightroom editing journey, check out my Lightroom masterclass. It has almost 5 hours of step-by-step editing lessons to help you become a better editor and find your own unique editing style as well. And I'll put a link down in the description for that as well. But with color out of the way, now let's shift our attention and talk about lighting. Now, from a lighting perspective, a story becomes a little bit easier to understand. A bright and airy photo might be happy and upbeat, whereas a darker image might appear more moody or mysterious. And alongside color, I've always considered this dark and moody vibe to be a defining feature of my work. And maybe that says something about me. Maybe I'm holding something within that I need to escape and I'm translating it into my work. But whatever it is, I've always been naturally gravitated towards this dark and moody style. I think it makes my images look a lot more dramatic and bold and epic. And that's something that I've always wanted to pursue with my photography. But exposure aside, when we're talking about lighting, we also have to talk about contrast because contrast is part of light. And a photo with higher contrast might feel more dramatic or bold, intense, or loud, whereas a photo with lower contrast might feel soft or subtle or even dreamlike. Now, we can also use light or shadow to highlight or omit certain things from our scene as well. Fading into blackness can add a sense of mystery, or you can use a sliver of light to highlight a subject, putting more emphasis on them. And I think film noir is a fantastic example to show how light and shadow can shape the story of your images. Film noir is characterized by high contrast scene with slivers of light that often highlight a very specific subject, while leaving the rest of the frame dark and mysterious to really emphasize that ominous or serious vibe. I absolutely love film noir, and I think it can really show us the power that the battle between light and shadow can bring to an image. Now, I do want to dispel one of the worst myths in photography, and that is you should never clip your highlights or your shadows in your image, which means that you're losing detail in the darkest or the brightest areas of your photo. And this quote rule is complete bullshit. There is no reason why you can't clip your highlights or your shadows in pursuit of story. Generally speaking, when we actually shoot that photo, we want to capture a balanced or an even exposure so we have as much data to work with when we go in to edit that photo. But when you are editing that photo, it's totally okay to bring the blacks down and crush those blacks. And the same goes for the highlights if you think it's going to add to the story of your image. So I just wanted to add that in there. But I think from a lighting perspective, story is a little bit easier to understand, but it does get a little bit more complicated when we start talking about composition. So let's talk about composition and story now. Now, of course, composition is how all of the elements in our scene are arranged in our frame. And just like all the other stylistic elements of photography that we've discussed in this video, composition has a massive impact on the story of our images. For example, an image that has a closer crop can often feel a little bit more intimate, thoughtful, or even mysterious, as it can leave contextual elements out of the frame, making you wonder what might be there. Whereas on the flip side of that, photos that are shot with a wider angle lens often show a lot more of the scene, and there might be contextual elements in that scene that can help enhance the story of the subject in your photo. So when you're going to shoot a scene, I think it's really important to contemplate that scene and think about how your focal length and your perspective is going to impact the story of that image. If you're shooting something like a landscape, for example, and there's an element in that scene that you think is going to detract from the story of your photo, consider zooming in with a telephoto lens or getting a little bit closer to eliminate that distracting element from your composition. And on the flip side of that, consider shooting with a wider angle lens if you think that the things around your subject will add context to your shot and add to the story. I think when you're choosing your lenses, yes, you're obviously going to make that decision based on how the end image is going to look, but also you should think about how that end image is going to feel as well. And I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but I think when a lot of beginner photographers pick up their first telephoto lens, they go and they shoot everything super zoomed in at telephoto with a wide aperture, completely obliterating the background behind the subject and not really thinking about all the different elements in that scene that could really help enhance the story of that photo. As photographers, of course, we're always going to chase the most beautiful thing, but we should never neglect the most important thing, which is story. And that's exactly why I love the 35mm focal length so much, which you guys know by now. And there's a video up here explaining exactly why I think that lens is so fantastic. Now, I've spent a lot of time talking about focal length. Of course, focal length and perspective is not the only way that composition impacts the story of our photo. And there's a lot of other compositional techniques that we can use to convey a specific emotion in our photos. For example, using negative space in our images can convey a sense of loneliness or openness or freedom. We can utilize depth in our scene where the foreground, the midground, and the background all play together to tell the story in that photo. We can experiment with slower shutter speeds to capture motion blur in our images, which gives our photo a very dynamic and energetic feeling to it. We can shift our perspective to photograph our subject at different angles. For example, if we're shooting up at them, which we call worm's eye view, this can make our subject feel more powerful, dominant, or heroic. And on the flip side of that, if we're shooting down on our subject, it can make them feel smaller or more vulnerable or weak. Now, there's probably a ton of different other compositional techniques that I can discuss that you can use to enhance story through composition. But honestly, I think the one that's going to have the most impact is the focal length that you choose based on what you want to include in your scene. And once again, the wider angle lenses can show a lot more context and tell a much more meaningful story than a tighter cropped photo. But sometimes that tighter crop might be exactly what you're looking for as well. I think it's really important to think about those things, and I think it's something that a lot of photographers neglect. But that is story in a nutshell. And I think it can be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around all these concepts, especially when you're starting early on. But the more you engage with photography and the more you pay attention to the things that you're actually feeling when you look at photos that inspire you or that look beautiful to you, that is really going to help you translate certain feelings into your own work as well. So I think it's really important to remember that story is the single most important factor in photography. And we should always be shooting to enhance the story of our images. And I think for the most part, most of us go out and we shoot for aesthetics, right? We try to capture beautiful images, but if you can go out and try to shoot for both, shoot for story and for aesthetics, I think your work is going to become a lot more meaningful. But thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. And if you guys like this video format where I do a deep dive into a specific photography topic, let me know in the comments down below. I'll definitely make more of these in the future. I also have a ton of different photography tutorials here on the channel if you guys want to check those out as well. But thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. And also thank you once again, Artlist, for sponsoring this video. I will catch you guys very soon in the next one.